Some stories don't just scare you. They kind of get under your skin. They build the sense of dread so carefully, so perfectly, that you don't even realize you're trapped until it's way too late. Today, we're going to pull one of those stories apart, a tale of a traveler caught in a storm to see exactly how it masterfully builds its terror, step by horrifying step. Let's dive in. See, the terror doesn't start with the monster, it starts with the weather. Right from this very first line, the atmosphere is just heavy. It's oppressive. The sky isn't just gray, it's ash-colored, a word that makes you think of something dead, something burnt out. This isn't just a storm brewing, it feels like an omen. And who's caught in the middle of this omen? Our protagonist, Raghu. He's just a regular traveler trying to get to the next town. But the storm, it hits with this incredible violence, forcing him completely off the main road and into this dark, totally unknown wilderness. Now, what's really brilliant about this setup is how it just systematically strips Raghu of all his control. I mean, think about it. He's lost his way, his bike is useless, and he's completely exposed. This is such a classic horror technique. You isolate the character, you make them vulnerable, and suddenly, we, the audience, are feeling that same anxiety right along with them. So just when Raghu is at his absolute most desperate, a figure just appears out of the gloom. This is Ratan, and he confirms Raghu's worst fears. Yep, the main road is blocked by a fallen tree, but he also offers a lifeline, shelter at his little tea shop nearby. It's an offer that, of course, Raghu can't possibly refuse. And this right here, this is the turning point. By accepting that invitation, Raghu is stepping out of a natural storm and into something else entirely, something far more sinister. He thinks he's finding safety, but what he's really done is just walked straight into the trap. The very first clue that something is deeply, deeply wrong isn't something he sees, it's something he smells. Before he even gets a look at the hut, Raghu catches the scent of something burnt, kind of mixing with the rain. It's subtle, but it's such powerful foreshadowing, a little sensory detail that just feels off. As he gets closer, Raghu's own logic starts kicking in. Okay, it's a tiny hut in the absolute middle of nowhere. Who are the customers? This question is so important because it shows us he's not an idiot. He's aware that this whole situation just doesn't add up, which makes his growing fear feel so much more real to us. In Ratan's reply, it is a masterclass in creepy ambiguity. He doesn't say travelers or people who get lost. He says, now people like you come. That little pause, that specific wording, it makes it sound like Raghu was expected, like he fits a certain type. It's just so unsettling. Okay, so the story has built this solid foundation of unease. Now it's going to start layering in things that are explicitly supernatural, making both Raghu and us start to question the very nature of this place. This is the first detail that just flat out defies the laws of physics. The storm is raging, wind is whipping all over the place, but the tiny flame in the lamp, perfectly still. It's this quiet, unnatural moment that tells you this place, well, it operates by its own set of rules. And then, as if things weren't tense enough, a second character is introduced, a woman named Jumar. She moves silently, except for the soft jingle of her anklets. Her face is covered by a veil, just adding another layer of mystery. We have no idea who she is, and that just cranks up the tension. And then, the story delivers its first real shock. A gust of wind lifts her veil, just for a second, and Raghu sees it. This thin, bloody line across her neck, like a fresh, deep cut. It's just a horrifying, visceral image. This quote just perfectly captures Raghu's state of mind. The weird flame, the creepy host, the wounded woman. This isn't just a strange situation anymore. He can feel that net closing in. He knows he's caught. The psychological terror just escalates into a full-blown nightmare. Raghu gets jolted awake by a scream and sees this horrifying vision of a man hanging nearby. But then Ratan is there, sitting calmly, telling him it was all just a bad dream. And that's terrifying because it forces Raghu and us to question his own sanity. Is he seeing things, or is he being lied to? So Raghu can't sleep. He sits with Ratan, who offers to tell him a story to help pass the time. But this isn't just any old story. It's more like a confession. And it's the key to understanding everything that's happening. Ratan tells this story from 3 years ago about a tea shop owner who lived on this exact spot. He married a beautiful woman, but he got really suspicious of a guy named Shankar who kept visiting. So one day, he comes home early and finds them together. In a blind rage, he kills his wife and then he strangles Shankar. And then, totally overcome by what he'd done, he sets his own hut on fire, dying in the blaze. Just as Ratan finishes his story, the sun starts to rise. The storm is finally over. The night of terror seems to be at an end. But the story's final and most horrifying twist is actually still to come. Raghu wakes up to a completely empty, silent hut. Ratan and Jumar are just gone. He is so relieved you can't even imagine. He grabs his bicycle and just starts riding away as fast as he can, desperate to put this whole nightmare behind him. He's almost safe. He's almost free. But then comes that classic horror movie moment, doesn't it? The reason to go back. He's ridden for a while before he realizes, with this jolt of panic, that he left his bag of money behind. He has no choice. He has to turn around and go back. When he gets back to the spot, his blood just runs cold. The hut where he spent the night, where he drank tea with Ratan and heard that awful story, it's simply not there. Instead, all he sees are the charred, skeletal ruins of a hut that very clearly burned down a long, long time ago. And the realization just hits him like a ton of bricks. Ratan's story wasn't just a story. It was the history of this exact spot, and he just spent the night with the ghosts of a murderer and his victims. And just as this horrifying truth is sinking in, a voice speaks from right behind him, holding out his bag of money. He spins around. It's Jumar. But this time, in the clear light of day, there's no hiding. A gust of wind just whips her veil completely away, revealing her face. And this is the final image the story leaves us with, the full, unobscured sight of her gruesome, bloody wound. Raghu faints, the terror now complete. It just leaves us with one last chilling question to think about. Do the ghosts of a tragedy ever truly leave the place where they died?